Lesson 15. Page 122. Basic sentences. Henry Lane. Henry Lane is Mrs. Norris's father. He and his wife have lived on a farm all their lives. In these sentences, Mr. Lane speaks.
My name's Henry Lane. My friends all call me Hank. My wife's name's Ruth. Please let me show you around our farm. Our farmhouse isn't large, but it's very nice. That's the barn down there. We keep the horses and cows there. We have 15 cows and 6 horses. Right now, we have 3 calves. This is the chicken house. We have 2 roosters and 20 hens. We have a few ducks and turkeys, too. We always have enough eggs for the family. We don't have any pigs, but we have about a dozen sheep. That's the pasture. And those are the fields over there. We grow fruits and vegetables. We also grow wheat and corn. We like to farm. Farming is a healthy life.
Now repeat, please.
1. My name's Henry Lane. 2. My friends all call me Hank.
3. My wife's name is Ruth.
4. Please let me show you around our farm. 5. Our farmhouse isn't large, but it's very nice. 6. That's the barn down there. 7. We keep the horses and cows there. 8. We have 15 cows and 6 horses. 9. Right now we have 3 calves. 10. This is the chicken house. 11. We have 2 roosters and 20 hens. 12. We have a few ducks and turkeys, too. 13. We always have enough eggs for the family. 14. We don't have any pigs. 15. But we have about a dozen sheep. 16. That's the pasture. 17. And those are the fields over there. 18. We grow fruits and vegetables. 19. We also grow wheat and corn. 20. We like to farm. 21. Farming is a healthy life.
Pronunciation. Consonant sounds t and d. Repeat these words. T.
Tie. Talk. Out. Meet. Later. Getting.
D.
Day. Dish. Need. Head. Middle. Reading.
Repeat these contrasts. T. D.
To. Do. Town. Down.
at, add. Write, ride. Repeat these phrases and sentences. Imitate carefully the special kind of t and d used between vowels in these sentences.
I'll be there at 8. Eat all your dinner. Eat a little cereal. I'll meet her downtown. Do you want to go now? Good afternoon. I have a good idea. She's eating a red apple. I need a new car. Do you want to read a good book? Practice drills and exercises. 1. 1. Vocabulary practice. Repeat the singular and plural forms of these nouns.
Cat, cats. Sheep, sheep. Dog, dogs. Goat, goats. Goose, geese. Potato, potatoes. Colt, colts. Calf, calves. Tomato, tomatoes.
Substitute the plural form of the noun. Listen to the model.
Horse,
Does Mr. Lane raise horses? Now do the exercise.
horse.
Does Mr. Lane raise horses?
Cow,
Does Mr. Lane raise cows?
goat.
Does Mr. Lane raise goats?
Sheep,
Does Mr. Lane raise sheep?
goose.
Does Mr. Lane raise geese?
Pig,
Does Mr. Lane raise pigs?
duck.
Does Mr. Lane raise ducks? Substitute the nouns.
Wheat,
What crop does he grow? Wheat?
corn.
What crop does he grow? Corn?
Potatoes,
What crop does he grow? Potatoes?
soybeans.
What crop does he grow? Soybeans?
Tobacco,
What crop does he grow? Tobacco?
Form questions and answers. Speaker A, form a question using or. Use any appropriate subject. Speaker B, give a reply using but. 1. Cows, horses. Have.
Does your friend have any cows or horses on his farm?
He has some cows, but he doesn't have any horses. 2. Wheat, corn. Grow.
Does Mr. Jones grow any wheat or corn on his farm?
He grows some wheat, but he doesn't grow any corn. 3. Sheep, pigs. Raise. 4. Chickens, ducks. Have. 5. Tobacco, soybeans. Grow. 6. Fruits, vegetables. Raise. 7. Potatoes, tomatoes. Grow. 8. Turkeys, geese. Keep. 9. Calves, colts. Have.
Page 125.
2. Review practice. WH questions with where and when. Take the part of speaker B. Form a question beginning with where or when. Listen to the model.
1. Mr. Norris, Mr. Moore. Mr. Norris works at Carroll's office center.
Where does Mr. Moore work?
Where does Mr. Moore work?
Where does Mr. Moore work?
Now do the exercise.
1. Mr. Norris, Mr. Moore. Mr. Norris works at Carroll's office center.
Where does Mr. Moore work?
2. Bob, Ted. Bob's in school.
Where's Ted?
3. Mary, Helen. Mary's coming at noon tomorrow.
When's Helen coming?
4. Ruth, Jane. Ruth lives in Chicago.
Where does Jane live?
5. Mr. Perez, Mr. Oda.
Mr. Perez is from Venezuela.
Where's Mr. Oda from? 6. We, they. We leave next week.
When do they leave?
7. Mr. Long, Mr. Hayes. Mr. Long's going to take his vacation in July.
When's Mr. Hayes going to take his vacation?
8. The farmhouse, the barn. The farmhouse is over here.
Where's the barn?
9. Cows, goats. He keeps the cows in the barn.
Where does he keep his goats?
10. Barbara, Kim. Barbara's going to give us her answer tomorrow.
When's Kim going to give us her answer?
11. Dr. Smith, Dr. Black.
Dr. Smith works in a research laboratory.
Where does Dr. Black work?
3. WH questions with who, what, when, and where. Listen to these conversational exchanges. The upward arrow on the last word of Speaker A's statements indicates that his voice rises a little at the end of the sentence.
Who? I don't have your coat.
Who does have it?
I don't know. I have no idea. Mr. Norris doesn't own Carroll's office center.
Who does own it?
Mr. Carroll does.
What?
Mr. Lane doesn't grow tobacco.
What does he grow?
Corn and wheat. Tom doesn't smoke cigarettes.
What does he smoke?
He smokes a pipe.
Where?
Mr. Perez and his wife don't come from Peru.
Where do they come from?
I think they're from Venezuela. Mr. Long doesn't work here.
Where does he work?
I think he works at the hospital.
When?
The stores don't open at 8.
When do they open?
They open at 9. I don't go to work at 7.
When do you go to work?
At 8:30.
Form questions and answers. Speaker A, read the statement of fact. Use a little rise in intonation at the end of the statement. Speaker B, form a question word question. Speaker A, reply freely.
1. They don't get up at 5.
They don't get up at 5.
When do they get up?
They always get up at 7:30.
2. Mr. Norris doesn't live in New York.
Mr. Norris doesn't live in New York.
Where does he live?
He lives in Washington.
3. I don't like to farm.
I don't like to farm.
What do you like to do?
I like to teach.
4. I don't eat eggs for breakfast.
5. I don't speak French.
6. Johnson's typewriter company doesn't sell adding machines.
7. The meeting doesn't start at 10.
8. Miss Long doesn't work at the hospital.
9. They don't raise sheep.
10. I don't have your umbrella.
11. Mr. Lane doesn't keep his tractor in the pasture.
12. Miss Love doesn't arrive today.
13. Bill doesn't know the answer to this problem.
14. Mary doesn't practice the piano at school.
15. Helen doesn't drink coffee for breakfast.
4. Review practice. Tag questions. Take the part of Speaker A. Fill the blanks and read the questions. Speaker B, give the expected short answer. Listen to the model.
1. A farmer has a hard life, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Now you do the exercise.
1. A farmer has a hard life, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
2. You're not working very hard, are you?
No, I'm not.
3. Tom wasn't at the meeting, was he?
No, he wasn't.
4. You and John were in school together, weren't you?
Yes, we were.
5. You don't own a farm, do you?
No, I don't.
6. Mr. Lane likes to farm, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
7. They don't like horses, do they?
No, they don't.
8. Mary isn't going to the party, is she?
No, she isn't.
9. Those aren't sheep over there, are they?
No, they aren't.
10. The calves aren't in the barn, are they?
No, they aren't.
11. He sounds sick, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
12. Mrs. Wilson doesn't sound angry, does she?
No, she doesn't.
13. The cows are in the pasture, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
14. There's a good barn on his farm, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
15. There aren't any pigs on Mr. Lane's farm, are there?
No, there aren't.
Questions and answers. Listen to these questions and answers.
You like farm life, don't you?
Yes, I do. It's very healthy, and I like to work outdoors.
Your son doesn't have a horse, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's only 7 years old.
Your dog Jerry doesn't bite, does he?
Oh, no, he doesn't bite. He's 12 years old. He doesn't have any teeth.
You use modern farm methods, don't you?
Oh, yes. We use all the new methods.
You have some heavy equipment, don't you?
Yes, we do. We have several pieces of heavy equipment. Let me show you our tractor.
You always get up early on the farm, don't you?
Yes, we do. We always get up at 4 a.m.
Do you ever watch TV on the farm?
Oh, my, yes. We watch it all the time.
Do you ever go into town?
Sometimes we do, but not very often.
Practice drills and exercises. 2. 1. Frequency adverbs. Always, never, ever, and sometimes. Repeat after speaker B.
1. Does Mr. Lane always get up early?
Yes, he does. He always gets up early.
2. Do farmers milk their cows every day?
Yes, they do. They always milk them twice a day.
3. Do you ever get up early?
No, I never do. I always sleep until 9 o'clock.
4. Do you always take your lunch to work?
Yes, I always do.
5. Is Mary ever late to work?
Yes, she is. She's always late.
6. Does she ever leave work early?
Yes, she always does.
7. Are you always home in the evening?
No, we never are. We always go out to eat about 8.
8. Do you ever watch the news programs on TV?
Sometimes we do.
9. Are Tom and Ellen always home on Saturday night?
No, they're not. Sometimes they go to the movies.
2. Ever and never. Answer the questions with never. Listen to the models.
1. Do you ever get up early in the morning?
No, I never do.
No, I never do.
No, I never do.
2. Are you ever home on Saturday?
No, I never am.
No, I never am.
No, I never am.
Now you do the exercise.
3. Does Mary ever take her lunch to work?
No, she never does.
4. Do you ever eat eggs for breakfast?
No, I never do.
5. Is Peggy ever late for her class?
No, she never is.
6. Does Mr. Lane ever forget to milk the cows?
No, he never does.
7. Do Mr. and Mrs. Long ever worry about money?
No, they never do.
8. Does your secretary ever eat lunch in an expensive restaurant?
No, she never does.
9. Are your friends ever angry with you?
No, they never are.
10. Do you ever eat French fries for breakfast?
No, I never do.
11. Does Mr. Norris ever take the subway to work?
No, he never does.
12. Does Kim Norris ever argue with her father?
No, she never does.
3. Sometimes and always. Answer the questions with sometimes. Listen to the model. 1. Does Tom ever go out to lunch with Fred?
Sometimes he does.
Now do the exercise. 1. Does Tom ever go out to lunch with Fred?
Sometimes he does.
2. Is Sue ever nice to you?
Sometimes she is.
3. Do you ever sleep late?
Sometimes I do.
4. Does Mr. Ellis ever walk to work?
Sometimes he does.
5. Do you ever take long walks?
Sometimes I do.
6. Are Tom and Ellen ever home on weekends?
Sometimes they are.
7. Does Dr. Black ever take a vacation?
Sometimes he does.
8. Does Maria ever talk to you in English?
Sometimes she does.
9. Do your friends ever laugh at you?
Sometimes they do.
Answer the above questions with always. Listen to the model. 1. Does Tom ever go out to lunch with Fred?
Yes, he always does.
Now do the exercise. 1. Does Tom ever go out to lunch with Fred?
Yes, he always does.
2. Is Sue ever nice to you?
Yes, she always is.
3. Do you ever sleep late?
Yes, I always do.
4. Does Mr. Ellis ever walk to work?
Yes, he always does.
5. Do you ever take long walks?
Yes, I always do.
6. Are Tom and Ellen ever home on weekends?
Yes, they always are.
7. Does Dr. Black ever take a vacation?
Yes, he always does.
8. Does Maria ever talk to you in English?
Yes, she always does.
9. Do your friends ever laugh at you?
Yes, they always do.
End of Lesson 15.